Hello, everyone, and hello, special guest Andrew Cogswell from Uppercut Crit. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
I am doing great. I have to let you know that this viewpoint in particular is like 10 years in the making, because that's how long it's been since there's been a new one of these games. That's a new Crash Bandicoot game. That's Crash 4. It's about time. It's here.
Finally,
There's a new Crash. There's a new Crash platformer. I heard through the grapevines that you're a pretty big fan of Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot 2 was when I first got my PlayStation in 1998 or something like that. We got 3 games for Christmas. Was Jet Moto 2,
Nice.
Crash Bandicoot Warped, and Air Combat.
Okay, yeah.
This was easily the most played, or Crash 2 was easily the most played.
That's totally fair. Yeah, I remember Jet Moto was a pretty weird game, right? I never played it, but I heard it was.
It was absolutely bizarre, and like my parents didn't know what they were doing when they were buying it, so they're like,
yeah, totally fair.
Andrew's a boy. He'll like sport game.
Yeah, this thing, yeah.
Yeah, and my sister got Crash, and my whole family became obsessed with Crash.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So.
No, yeah, I can totally relate to that. I had a similar thing, but I had a Sega Genesis. That was like my first console as a kid. And it was a similar thing of just like I was at the whims of my parents and their knowledge of video games.
Yeah.
And we had like 2 games on the Genesis, and it was Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic and Knuckles, and that Jurassic Park game that was on Sega Genesis.
Yep. Yeah,
so I was into Sonic and Knuckles, and then I saw Sonic R, the very popular, a quote unquote video game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a kid, so at the time I was like, hell yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
And so
I remember going back and getting Crash 1 because I was like, oh, I want because it was before Crash 3 came out. I was like, I want more Crash. Going back to Crash 1, I'm like, this is hard.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I still to this day have never beat Crash 1 like without cheat codes. It's difficult. It's a very hard game. Because
that's what I was gonna say. After the whole Sonic thing, I got a PS1 because for whatever reason my parents thought Sonic R was on the PlayStation 1, so I ended up with the PlayStation 1 through that, and that's how I ended up playing those games when I was younger. Like I rented Crash from Blockbuster, and I was in a similar boat in that like I think I was a young kid and I was like cool with like platformers, but like those games were super hard, so I never really got into them. So I was like not like the biggest fan of them immediately, like just because of that. So like I ended up getting more into like Spyro and stuff. Yeah, and because they were like more, I like the more open kind of platforming, I like collectible nature of those games.
I think Spyro is. I think I like the original Spyro trilogy more, just because Crash 1 is just so difficult. I just don't care for it.
No, I totally feel that. Mm-hmm.
But like both those series have really fond memories for me as a kid.
Nice.
To the point where not my next tattoo, but my tattoos after that are going to be Crash and Spyro related.
Oh, nice. So, dang. So I'm glad I have you here then, because I'm gonna jump into Crash 4 here. So I've played pretty much the majority of the game here, and I should say up front here, full disclosure, I was provided a code from some PR representatives for the game. I'm playing here on PS4, so I was given a code for the game for coverage and stuff. So appreciate them sending us a code. I think I've so you can see this is like the the usual little kind of hub world, select level kind of thing. I've gotten pretty deep in. I've not beaten it yet. I think I'm like 1 or 2 levels away from the final boss, so I think I'm pretty close. But we'll just jump into one of these levels here.
Yeah.
I really am a fond of this world because again that nostalgic feeling, and I was really into dinosaurs as a young kid. So seeing this like cool like dinosaur levels were pretty fun. Like prehistoric, because like the whole gist is you're kind of running through time and tracking down people, or tracking down Cortex, because they've devised a plot to do crazy time stuff with you.
Yeah. Speaking of the plot really quick, I gotta give them credit for like jumping immediately from the end of 3 and like crafting a plot that like feels like a natural progression from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And like it feels good and like it's fun. like the jumping through time, and like you find Tana pretty early on, and she hasn't been around since Crash 1.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like they do some really cool stuff with the plot in this game that I was not expecting, because Crash isn't known for its plot.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the plot.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Like it feels like they took a lot of inspiration from a kind of, you know, there's you know, not like in the like somewhat recent years, right? Of like they've kind of there have been some platformer revivals, right? Like I think of like, you know, those Rayman platforming games that came out a couple years ago, and like the Donkey Kong Country Returns games.
I mean, even like Celeste and Cuphead. I mean, those are two notoriously difficult games, and like while they're not plot heavy, I mean, Celeste is definitely plot heavy.
Sure.
But I mean, those are two notoriously difficult games, and I talked earlier about how like Crash 1 was really hard for me as a kid and I could never beat it. This game is very difficult.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. Especially if you're trying to get everything. I like second to last level, I died 86 times.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm totally with you. Like, this game is freaking hard.
Yeah, and so like you see those inspirations of like Cuphead and Celeste and stuff like that, and like these modern platformers that have, you know, been critical darlings applied to Crash is a weird thing in 2020. We've been so long without a mainline game.
Yeah, and the fact that they were like able to do that, right? Because there we go. There's the death.
There, first one.
There it is. Yeah, because like I think it helps a lot because those remasters came out recently, right? And I know they sold very well, so I feel like that kind of maybe gave Toys for Bob, the developers of this new one, kind of a little bit more free range over Activision to be like, hey, you know, these so people well, and those are challenging games and people are still into it. So let us just like kind of do our thing, and they went okay, and like it definitely evokes that because like you said, like those, I would say in particular, like those not even like later levels, like even just like these levels are like pretty freaking challenging. Like, you know, I would say like some of those later levels, I was definitely racking up deaths like into like the 30s and 40s. Like,
oh yeah,
how many things? But I will say, like, you know, comparatively to those OG games, I like some of the like more like modern kind of ideas they've taken, which I'm kind of doing right now, where like you know, they introduced like as a part of the story, they've introduced these masks.
Yeah.
See, I'm now in, so now I'm on a PS4 controller now. Pretty much at any time, I can press a button and it slows down time. I have like control over time, so you can see. And there's a bunch of different masks like that. There's like one where like, you know, you're shifting platforms in and out of existence, and
I'm a big fan of the tornado spin one.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Just because it adds more to the platforming than the other ones do, I feel like. Just because it's more about movement than the other ones in interacting with the environment. So yeah, I was a big fan of the purple, like, dark matter tornado spin thingy.
Yeah, you kind of get like an infinite spin basically. You can even like glide with it and stuff. So yeah, those levels are pretty cool. Like those, like they're like very big open levels.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's close. Oh,
I think one thing you mentioned Toys for Bob in like the Insane trilogy. I think one of the things that like really prepped them for this too was they released the Stormy Ascent level from Crash 1 that was cut from the original release.
Oh wow, okay.
Because it was too difficult.
Right.
And so it was never finished. And so Toys for Bob was like, okay, well, let's take a look at it. And they ended up just releasing it. They fixed it, or they finished it, released it, and they're like, hey, it's hard, go for it. Because they knew, like, we're older now. Like, their target market for Crash is older now. So they're like, I mean, not target market, but like people who grew up with it are older now.
Yeah, like that level of people of like are pretty much our age, right? Like
they're like playing Dark Souls all the time. Like, Toys for Bob was like, they got this.
They can figure it out.
And then they went and made a whole game like that.
yeah, seriously. And I feel like, you know, on top of those, like the levels just being challenging on themselves, they've like introduced, which I will do probably like, you know, after another level or so, those kind of like challenge mode versions of the levels, like the kind of remixed versions. I think they're called
the inverted.
Yeah, the inverted levels. Some of those are like super cool. Like I've not done all of them, but I've done like a handful of them, and they're like really cool, and They're like a different kind of interesting challenge.
So I finished the game and I'm now working my way through all the inverted levels, and
Nice.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through all the inverted, I think. But man, like, it's cool because not only the levels remix, but the art style is different.
Yeah, because that's
and it's not
totally. Yeah, totally. Like, and that's what I think is super cool too. Of like, even for the level I just did, we won't. I'll play a different level to show it off, but like, it makes it like a crazy, like almost like a kid's like cartoon crayon like drawing effect on it. It's like super cool, and like some of them are like
different.
Yeah,
it's different for every level.
Yeah, or
like every set of levels, which just makes it more fun.
Yeah, totally. Because I think in this world, which is like kind of like the swampy kind of industrial area, it gives it kind of like an old film grainy kind of style.
That's the world I'm in right now on the inverted. So
yeah. I want to jump back to this one in particular because I think these are like some of my favorite, like these color ones. I think.
The color splash like looking ones.
Yeah, these ones are like super cool. So I'll jump.
They are really cool.
I'll jump to this one. Yeah, and they're like, playing. As you can see, I'm getting these gemstones for kind of completing the levels, and they're like various challenges, right? Like, collecting the right amount of crates, like in the previous games. Having a limited amount of deaths. And as you can see, I got the booty seeker skin for Crash, so like you can unlock skins and stuff.
And the skins are so good too.
Yeah. There's only one I will never forgive them for putting in, and that's this skin, which is one of the. This comes from because since I got a code, it came with like the bonus stuff, and they gave Crash like I guess this is supposed to be like a ninja, the streamer.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
What's funny is like I got the pre-order bonus, so I got those 3 on the bottom, but I didn't get the gamer one because I haven't signed into my Activision account yet. Now I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, I'd say I got it for free, and I didn't even realize it was a part of it. But yeah, I'd say you're fine. And the other thing, like that insane trailer, you can play as Coco too at any time. And she plays pretty much exactly the same. And she has all her skins. You can get that kind of cool retro one, and like some of her are pretty cool too. But yeah,
they did. I mean, I'm not like a skins person. I like even in Overwatch, like some of the skins are cool, but like I tend to stick to pretty standard because I don't know. Like in my head, it's like that's what they're supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah.
But in this game, I like using the skins. It's fun. Like it doesn't do anything for the gameplay, but like they're just so well done.
Yeah, they're really nice skins, and like they're like thematic too. Like when you get one, it's usually kind of thematic to the level you got it from, or like the world you're in.
Exactly.
And they're pretty cool.
So every time I unlock a new one, I'll at least look at it and entertain the idea and like, no, I like this other one. I have more, but I haven't used the default skin the whole game. And that's very weird for me.
Right.
So yeah, like the design in this, from like the skins to just the environments and the masks look so cool.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think just like the game itself is like just a really good looking game. So you can see I'm actually not Crash right now. That's another thing they've added in this level, or in the game, is like you basically have like a couple playable characters. Like we mentioned earlier, Tawna is back in the game, and they've kind of given her a new design and kind of in context with the story, right? Of like they're kind of jumping through time in like different dimensions. So you meet a different Tawna, and you play through those with her. As you can see right now, I'm Dingo Dial, a previous Crash villain. Now he's what he owns like a restaurant now, right?
Yeah, he owns a restaurant. Did you ever play Crash Bash? Oh, hey, that's where that hidden gym is. That's good to know.
Yeah. No, I didn't play Crash Bash.
Okay, so in Crash Bash, it's Crash versus Cortex in a very like Final Fantasy Dissidia like style, like
sure.
confrontation where it's like the good mask and the bad mask. You're like, we're gonna put our champions for it.
Okay,
which is bizarre to compare to Dissidia now that I think about it, but it's true.
It's okay. I totally got it.
But Crash only had him and Coco, so they needed more characters. So Dingo Dial actually played on the good guys team in Crash Bash.
Got it.
And so like it's kind of an interesting throwback for them to make him a playable character. My big complaint about it though is it feels kind of forced. Like he just kind of shows up.
Yeah, I would say like it's cool that they they gave us like a little bit more varied levels, right, with these characters. But like they definitely do, like I kind of agree that they definitely feel like a little half baked, because you know that I picked this level in particular because you'll see like so you play as him for maybe like 2-3 minutes at most, and then you just kind of go back to playing as Crash, and like pretty much all the levels sort of play out like that. I would say maybe except for like some of the Tawna levels.
I think Tawna is really the only one who has her own like full length level that I can think of.
Yeah, and like that's like all, but yeah, I mean explosive barrel. So yeah, so while it's kind of cool to like, I kind of like seeing this perspective, I guess. Yeah. Compared to like the more tight platforming levels, it definitely is like, oh, that's it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I will say that like, so there's 3 other characters that you get to play as. You get to play as Dingodile, Tawna, and Cortex.
Mm-hmm.
I really like playing as Dingodile and Tawna. Like they feel good and fun to play as.
Yeah, they do.
And like Cortex is fine. He's just a little weird. And you don't get him till I guess spoilers a little bit later in the game is when you first kind of start playing as him. And so like you don't get as much time with him, but he just feels weird to me. Yeah. But the other 2, like I really like playing as Tawna and Dingodile. I just wish Dingodile in particular was a little bit more developed as to why he's even there.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But, no, I totally agree. Like I think they just it felt like they were maybe like kind of working on the game and just went like, well, maybe we can do an extra thing here or there, and then it feels just a little tacked on.
Yeah, but like I said, I enjoy it, especially as like I know it's probably not a Crash Bash throwback, but I really loved Crash Bash as a kid because I never had an N64, so like that was my Mario Party.
Nice.
And so like I like to think that it's a Crash Bash throwback, and that makes me very happy. But,
yeah, because I would say like there's like I feel like this game has like a ton of like referential stuff, even as somebody who I'm not like super like knowledgeable of those original games, but I played them when I was younger. And I would say like the Crash game I kind of more played a lot of was Crash Team Racing in particular.
Okay.
So, I like Crash Team Racing a lot. Oh, it's explosive. Just run away from that. But even so, like there's just like a lot of stuff like that. Like there's slight spoilers, but like you get to a world later and like the main antagonist, like the alien guy from Crash Team Racing, is like involved in like in like a whole world in a section of the game, which is cool.
I was not expecting that. Like he showed up and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
He's just here now, hanging out, and he's kind of involved in like the whole thing going on to an extent.
Yeah, kind of like unwillingly.
Yeah,
in a way. He's kind of just like, okay. Like there's things like, and that kind of brings back to what I was talking about earlier about the plot. They did some really cool, interesting stuff that I was not expecting, and it makes it better because I wasn't expecting really anything from a Crash game because again they're not really known for their story.
Yeah,
and so the fact that I wasn't expecting anything and they over delivered felt even cooler.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like it definitely feels like there was some things they went above and beyond for this game, which is cool because like even. It made me like appreciate Crash as like a franchise a lot more than I thought.
One thing I will say with like we were talking about the difficulty earlier is, man, and part of the reason like it was so hard for me and took me so long and so many deaths was because I was trying to get every box as I go through.
Yes, yeah.
And I would get to the end of the level and I died like 15 times, and you get a gem for dying less, 3 times or less. So I would try to get the boxes one over the gem or over the lives one because it was like, hey, I'll go back. Once I know the level better, I'll be able to do lives one easier.
Yeah.
So I die like 15 times, get to the end of the level, look at my box count. I'm missing 1 box.
Yeah. And
I have no idea where it is.
Yeah. That's been frustrating for me too. Of like I kind of hit a point. Specifically with those later levels where I just kind of immediately just kind of gave up because it's like, man, some of these are just like some of these are just like hard to like try and continuously do this and like with like some aspects of like these more challenging platforming games, like they are kind of meant to be, the levels are kind of meant to be played over and over, right? Because it's sort of trial and error, but not not really. You kind of have to like know the layout, right, to like kind of master it and get everything.
Well, like the thing is too with these levels, they're long. Like they're like they feel like triple the length of like the last mainline Crash game, which was on the PlayStation 1, which makes sense because of technology. But man, like replaying them, trying to get under 3 lives, like that just sounds exhausting.
Yep.
And like part of me was like, oh yeah, I want to try to do as much as possible, but man, it's a lot. You have to, like, if you want to get everything in here, you have to really be committed. Like all the platinum trophy hunters, like Godspeed, friend, because I don't have that in me.
Yep.
I love Crash, but I can't do it.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar feeling of like, man, some of those skins look really cool in those later levels, but I'm gonna like some of those require even more gems than some of the earlier levels. So it's like, man, this is it needs like 9 gems. So I basically have to like 100% this level to get that. And that's probably never gonna happen because I don't have that kind of patience.
Yeah, I mean the last levels in the game require all 12 gems. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Well, and then to get 100, so you see, there's an end credit movie, there's a 100% credit movie, and 106% credit.
Oh, wow.
Movie.
Okay.
And to get 106% credit, you have to go through every level, both regular and inverted. You have to get all 5 of the gems, so you don't have to get the hidden gem.
Right.
We had to get the 5 other gems, so the 3 Wumpa fruit gems, the box gem, and the not dying more than 3 times gem, all without dying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is just so much. So like, I'm about to hit up YouTube and be like, yo, show me these videos because I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I just don't have the page. I'm not that good, you know?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like I don't see myself doing that. I don't have the time dedicated.
No, not even a little bit
for that stuff. So let's do an inverted level here. I haven't done any of these ice levels yet. Inverted.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is the flashback tapes.
Oh yeah, so I admittedly have not done a lot of those either.
I haven't unlocked. We've unlocked about the same amount.
Yeah,
because they're hard.
Yeah, because they're freaking hard. Because they're basically like, I mean, I'll jump into one real quick, but I'm not promising completing it here right now. It's not at all. But yeah, like I tried. I think one of these, and then like saw what it was, and was just like, actually, no, I'm kind of good.
I really enjoy them because I like that kind of tight platforming, and I like these two because so like these videos, you can see it looks like a VHS. It's supposed to take place when Crash first was created by Cortex, and it's like so like lore, and what, again, like not expecting a lot from a Crash game, but like the lore implications here are really cool because you're getting to see something we've never seen before from like the Crash series, and that's Crash's life before him and Cortex were like locked in this eternal struggle.
Yeah, he was kind of like a test subject for Cortex or something like that.
Yeah. Cortex was going to make him the general of his army, and something happened at the beginning of Crash 1. I don't quite remember what, but yeah, Crash ended up getting away, and like ruining everything. So like I love these kind of tight platforming levels. I've done, I think I've 100% of every one I've unlocked. They're hard to unlock because to unlock them, you have to, certain levels have the tapes in them, and you have to get to the tape and grab it without dying. And they're usually like 3/4 of the way in, so they're difficult.
Yeah, and like some stages even have like multiple tapes on them, right? Like there's some that like have.
I don't know if they have multiple. I don't know. I haven't paid that much attention. I've only seen one from what I've looked at, but there could very well be multiple tapes. I have no idea. But yeah.
I'll give this one more try. But I think people get the gist. Like they're just like super challenging. Like probably some of the most challenging levels in the game.
Oh, easily.
So
there's one where you have to plan out kind of like when you blow up the nitro, and like you have to plot a course with the boxes, and it's insanely challenging. But like again, for me, it was incredibly gratifying. Like I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, like figuring out all that stuff. It's pretty cool.
And the bonus levels are kind of that way too. The bonus levels in this game are a lot harder than they were in past games. To the point where like towards the end of the game, like I didn't even finish the bonus levels.
Yeah.
They're hard.
Yeah. These levels are like pretty tough, and I think they're just enough for me to be like, yeah, this is cool, and I'm glad like they were able to like have the freedom to like make something so challenging for a game, for this game again. But I don't think I'll check it out in like a couple, like when the next game's done quick stream, when it's like
That's
and be like, whoa, that's freaking cool. Look at that dude doing that.
what's funny is like when I was playing through this game, like I thought of speedrunners. Like I'm not a speedrunner in the slightest. I'm an amateur speedrunner with the Spyro trilogy. But I can't imagine trying to speedrun this game.
Yep.
But there's people that are going to try to do it.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see those.
Yeah, it will, because like these games require such precision. Yeah, so I'm excited to see at the next GDQ.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool. So we'll just do this first level inverted real quick, just to show off one of these. Because I think this one's cool too, like this kind of like echolocation thing that's going on.
This threw me off the first time I was doing it.
Right? Yeah,
it
was
in
the world.
Well, because they showed off like the color, quote unquote, color splash mode.
Right.
Maybe that's the paper. Is that Paper Mario Color Splash? It's not called Color Splash. I don't know. But like they showed off that, and they're like, yeah, this is a new mode you can play in. And I don't remember them ever talking about each level having like different like art styles like this. And so when I went to inverted mode, I was expecting like the color mode.
Yeah.
And when this popped up, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. So like, basically each world, right, has like a different like kind of stylistic choice for these. So like this first world, which are like the first couple levels in the game, are like as I spin and hit boxes, it's like doing like an echolocation, so you can kind of see like the outline of the stage and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really cool, and it's like a different challenge. And like you said, there's like the color splash worlds, which is like a similar concept, but the whole stage is black and white. And whenever you spin or break boxes, it like splashes like paint and colors the world and stuff.
Yeah, and like recolors it, which is really cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and like I think these are like the two most interesting ones I've seen. Like the rest are kind of more like they put some cool filters on the stages more than.
Yeah, I do really. We kind of you talked earlier about the dinosaur level, maybe was it the like color pencil kind of look. I really enjoyed that one. That one was really cool.
Yeah, that one definitely stuck out too. But like the other ones where like there's one world which like it feels like some of them just put like a an old timey kind of grainy effect on the screen. There's one where it kind of makes like it makes it like kind of like comic booky and like kind of sharp edges on all the characters and stuff. And that you can see like the stage is kind of mirrored as well. Like,
so when they do inverted, like not only is the art style different, but it is an actual mirror of the original level. So again, you can't like rely on your muscle memory for these. It's like playing a brand new level.
Yeah.
In some regards.
Yeah.
So
it's
and even the bonus levels, are weird too, which is really interesting. So yeah, I think it's a nice touch, especially with so many games like fighting for time, like the rise of games as a service. It's very easy to pick up a platformer, beat it, and be kind of done with it. And then you see stuff like Celeste, who did like the D sides or whatever, and added a bunch of stuff. Cuphead's doing DLC. This is kind of just doing it all at once. It's like, hey, here's a ton of stuff. It's gonna be difficult. Go for it.
And they did like a lot with like the little quote unquote like little they have, even though it's not that little. Because I want to say there's like 40, 30, close to 40 base levels, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of these, inverted levels that like doubles that because they're all those different versions, and then you have like the tapes, and stuff as well. So like like they like you said, they kind of had like took that idea of like remixing stuff and like filled out the game in a way that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with like how much is in this game. I was not expecting this. I was expecting like kind of like the trilogy, play through it, be done with it. But like I said, I'm about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through the inverted levels now, and it's fun.
Yeah, I definitely came away a little bit more surprised than like, I was curious to see what Crash was doing a new Crash game would look like. Even though I wouldn't say I'm not the most hardcore fan, but I do enjoy like platforming games.
Mhm.
So I was curious of like what do they think like a Crash game in 2020 looks like, and I think they did like a great job with it of like
Yeah.
taking what works, and like adding a few nice like features like even just base level. I like that they added what's it like some of these options of having like here's like a modern mode.
Oh yeah.
That's just like it counts your deaths in a stage, but instead of like having lives, and when you run out of lives, you're just done for the level. So like stuff like that, where like a lot of modern platformers do that now too. But you can set it to a retro mode with the lives if you want the lives and stuff too. So like it gives you it's like cool. It's just a cool like little thing like that, right? That like is like might be enough for some people to be like, oh, okay, that's a little bit more welcoming and not so like like kind of gatekeepy type of stuff, right? For difficulty.
There's also a mode called Pass and Play, which is new to the series. I don't know if you've explored that at all.
No, I haven't tried that yet.
I haven't either, mostly because Jessica watched me play this and she was like, I'm good. Because like she watched me play some of the flashback levels. She's like, nah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But the idea behind Pass and Play is you set it up and you can pick the number of players, I think up to 4, and then you can pick whether you switch off when you die or hit a checkpoint. And when you do that, when you hit a checkpoint or when you die, whatever one you set it as, you're supposed to pass it, to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And it at the end of the level, it calculates the score of who did the best. And so it's like a fun couch co-op / competitive mode, which is great because platformers traditionally are a pretty solo experience.
Yeah.
Some have gone off and tried to kind of do some co-op and stuff and to mix success, but like this is, and like I don't know, do you have siblings?
I do. Yeah, I have an older sister.
Okay, so like me growing up, like me and my sister would pass the controller back and forth. So we were already doing that, and this kind of encourages that idea.
Yeah, it builds it
in
right
a fun way.
Yeah.
In like a fun competitive way that would have been great as a kid. And I'm just glad we have someone like that now. But I gotta find somebody who will play with me. Yeah, Jessica. I don't know if she will.
Yeah, I totally get it. Like it's a pretty challenging game.
Yeah.
So here, we'll jump through this. Like I don't know if we don't have to do the whole level here. But this is a Cortex level. I would just show off maybe one more of these inverted levels.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's just like a really cool. This is like a really cool effect, right? Of like it's like kind of looks like it's like color pencil or like crayon drawing.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to go. If you're like, I started when I did the inverted levels. I started at the very beginning of the game and just went through. And it's so cool to go from world to world and to see what they did, like what they did for that world. Because it makes it exciting to continue to play through the inverted levels. Because I started immediately after I beat the game. I was like, I'll start running through them, and
see what's there.
And to immediately go back through the game I had just finished. It might not have lasted long, but like the excitement of seeing like, oh, what did they do for this one helps like push me forward and make me want to do it. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's nice to see.
It is. They're cool. They're definitely. I like this idea of a remix of like these kind of remixes, and I hope to see like more people like think about that stuff. Like you said, like Celeste did it. Now this game is kind of harping on that. I hope more games do that sort of stuff.
You said you were a big Spyro guy. Did you? I'm assuming you played through the Reignited trilogy.
I just played through the first 2 games.
Got it.
When I played through it, but I didn't finish the 3rd game when I got around. I think some other stuff was going on, but
yeah, that was a busy fall from what I remember.
I played through those. Like, man, that was like those were a great remakes of those games. It's really good.
Yeah, and with Activision owning both the IP, I'm really curious if we do get a canonical Spyro 4, because they did like Crash. They did some side stuff that after Naughty Dog and Insomniac said they were done, that they made some other games and they weren't the best. They were fine for the most part. But Spyro in particular had a lot of spin-off games.
Yeah, shout out to Elijah Wood.
Yeah, who did the voice of it, right?
Yeah, for that, like, they did that was like the weird gritty reboot Spyro, right?
Yeah, it was like a new dawn or something like that, or a new beginning.
Yeah.
Wild. But I'm excited to see like with obviously Insane Trilogy sold well, Reignited Trilogy sold really well. If this sells well, hopefully, I'm curious to see what they do with Spyro next. Because that feels like the next one to kind of get the Crash treatment.
Yeah, and on top of like, the idea of like, we're on the cusp of those next gen consoles coming. Well, that'd be like, if we get like a next gen Spyro 4, that'd be pretty cool.
God, I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, totally.
Because like you said, like you're a bigger Spyro fan, so am I. So like as excited as I was for this, like, man, a Spyro game would send me over the edge.
Yeah,
so.
I'd really like to see, like, thinking of like a Spyro game with like much more open environments and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean they've showed with this that like they've got new ideas for these old trilogy or these old series. I'd be curious to see what they add to Spyro.
Yeah.
What they do next. So.
Yeah, because overall, I like what they did with the masks and stuff.
Yeah, I think the masks kind of stay true to the origins of the series with like Aku Aku and Uka Uka. Yeah, and it was cool. It was like, again, it was a nice way to kind of to push the series forward, and they did it in a pretty natural way. It felt like with the masks. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All in all, they surprisingly like did the right thing by Crash, and that's for sure surprising thing after, like you said, all the weird spin-offs and
like there's like Wrath of Cortex, which they make a reference to in a boss battle at one point, which I thought was very funny. They also make a reference to Twin Sanity, which was one of the other ones, in a trophy name. Yeah, there's a few references to the other games, which is fun, and like they make it a point very early on that like this is canonically the fourth one. The other ones never happened. In a funny way that was like in the trailers and stuff. They're like, I think Tawna asks them like, how many times have you fought Cortex? Oh no, it's the first mask, the blue mask. He's like, how many times have you fought him? They're like 3. He's like, really? Seems like more. And they're like, no, 3.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like, nope, that was it. Nothing else weird happened.
Nope. But yeah, it's again like they kind of honored the legacy of Crash with those subtle nods to the other games that canonically don't exist anymore. And I will say, like in the credits, they thank Naughty Dog too, which was kind of nice to see, because Naughty Dog created Crash Bandicoot, which is just still so wild to me. That they created Crash and Jak and Daxter.
Yeah, and then made Uncharted and all this other stuff. I'm like, it's
Uncharted,
like,
Last of Us. Yeah, I mean, and like those are like, it's weird to think like those are their 4 big IP, or like their 4 big games that they made were Crash, Jak, Uncharted, and Last of Us. That's it.
Yeah, just very, very different games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can be. I think people have gotten a good idea.
Yeah.
This game and Crash. I think if you find yourself here, I think you're already into Crash in some shape or form.
Yeah.
Or maybe familiar with it. Oh, there I go again.
Or maybe they just really like us.
Yeah. They're like, well, those Irrational Passions are Uppercut guys. They're cool. Uppercut peeps and all that stuff. They're cool. And I'm like, all right, I guess. Yeah, we're okay, I guess.
We do all right.
Yeah, but we're here, and I think that'll do it for this Viewpoints. That was Crash 4. It's out now. I'm pretty sure I said it, but this is what we're playing here on PS4 Pro. Thanks again for sending us the code, the PR people. And if you want some other thoughts on it, you can check irrationalpassions.com, and there'll be a written review up there by me as well. So you can check that out there. Andrew, thanks for joining me. Do you have anything cool to plug or any upcoming stuff for Uppercut?
When is this? Depends. When is this coming out?
It'll be like within a day or two from today's recording it. So it'll probably be like Tuesday.
You can follow me on Twitter.
All right, excellent.
at Cogswell, and you can follow Uppercut at Uppercut Crit. We focus on minority. I'm the only straight white male at Uppercut. I'm the only male at Uppercut. I'm the only straight person at Uppercut. And we focus on minorities in games. I'm the video editor over there, so I'm mostly behind the scenes, but I occasionally write and review AAA games.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it. Excellent.
Thanks again for joining me, and thanks everybody for stopping by and watching. Until then, this Cortex. He's having a good time. He's gonna hang out.
Dance.
All right. All right. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.